Hello children, welcome back to English Corner. Children, now what topic we are going to study? You guess? Yes, the kite, right? I'm welcoming you back to the poem Kite. Let us have a small recap of the poem, dear. Then we will go into the book exercise, right? The Kite poem was written by Harry Benn. Harry Benn was born on September 24, 1898 and he died on September 6, 1973. He was an American screenwriter and children's author. He was involved in writing key scenes and continuities for a number of screenplays, including the war film and the Big Parade in 1925 and the Hells Angels are the famous among them. He was graduated from Harvard University 1922. Right about this author. He is a author. He is Harry Benn. See how aged he is. Now you are seeing a beautiful kite flying. Okay. Now the kite. We all love to fly kite. And I tried once, I said before, and you too should try to fly kite. Okay. Now the definition for kite, we saw a light frame covered with paper, cloth or plastic, often provided with a stabilizing tail. Why it is stabilizing? The name itself suggests stabilizing tail. So the weight of the kite will be stabilized. That means supported by the weight of the tail. The kite and the tail should have the same weight, then only it will fly. Right, and designed to be flown in the air only at the end of the long string. Right, you can see the long string here. The part of a poem, one small part of a poem is here. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new. With a dive and a dip it snaps its tail, then soars like a ship with only a sail. As over tides of wind it rides, climbs to the crest. So blue is a favorite color of for most of persons, and for me also it is a favorite color. It means that water and sky for earthly mean, and also wet or cold. When in map, when we are asking you to draw Indian Ocean, to color Indian Ocean, sorry, not to draw, to color Indian Ocean or Pacific Ocean, whatever ocean it is, immediately what you will do? You will give blue color, isn't it? So dark blue is used for trust, dignity, intelligence and authority. Bright blue is strength and cleanliness. Light blue is for peace. Right? Yes, light blue is for peace. Now with a dive and a dip, it snaps its tail. As now dip and dive is at lower section of, dip is the lower section of the road, and dive is the big jump from the higher portion. Okay, and as verbs there is a difference. Dip is a lower into the liquid and dive is to swim under the liquid, right? And snaps, what is the meaning of snap? Break or cause to break suddenly and completely, typically with a sharp crackling sound. So when the kite is flying high, then when the wind blows heavy, right? That time you will hear the sharp crackling sound. That is what snaps. Okay, snaps its tail. Can you able to understand here? Right? Then soars like a ship, soars to sail often at a great height. Right? So definition of sail here for all these definitions which I am giving in this poem is based on the kite. Right? It's an extent of fabric such as canvas by means of which wind is used to propel a ship through water. Right? As over tides of wind it rides, climbs to the crest. Tides are the rise and fall of sea levels caused by the combined effect of gravitational forces exerted by the moon and the sun and the rotation of the earth. This is scientific reason. Here crest represents the top of the mountain or hill, sometimes such as hill or a wave. So to reach the top of the hill. That is what crest here, climbs to the crest to reach the top of the hill. As over tides, like the tides and wind it rides, this kite is climbing, raising up and down and climbing to the top of the mountain. So the author, what the author tries to say in this poem, through this poem. When we say kite, right, an individual who faces opposition can grow in strength and resilience. The notion has been brilliantly expressed, like how a metamorphical kite in the wind blows, while the wind blows, how the kite is flying. So three versions are there. One is the kite rises highest against the wind and not with it. This is the one main reason which you have to keep in your mind again and again. I'm insisting, last video also I insisted the same, and this video also I'm insisting the same. Kites rise highest against the wind and not along the wind, right? Opposition is a great help to a man. When somebody is opposing you, then you're growing. You have to think that you're growing. You should not uh, keep that in your mind and sit in the corner, and you should not cry for that, right? Kites raise against and not along with the wind. So kite can rise against the wind means the best thing in a young man's life is of young man's life is often full of diversities, right? So you have to come out of that position. Like a kite, you have to fly against that opposition. So if you are going along with the good things alone, good comment alone, then you will not come up. You will not be a successful person in your life. When the opposition comes and you rectify that, then only you can come up in your life. A new kite looks bright when the sky is clear and blue, right? The kite takes a plunge and bends sideways. Its tail produces a cracking noise. Then suddenly the kite rises high like a ship with a sailcloth. The kite has only one sail of a string. Next part of the poem. Of a gust and pulls, then seems to rest, and as wind falls when string goes slack, you wind it back and run until a new breeze blows and its wings fill, and up it goes. So of gust and pulls, then seems to rest. Difference between gust and wind. A wind gust usually come in 2 minutes interval, that is, wind gust comes quite suddenly and abruptly. There are a number of different reasons for the wind gust to occur. One is a sudden shift from high pressure to the low pressure. Another cause for the wind gust is to occur in the terrain. Children, just check what terrain is, right? As wind falls when string goes slack. Take up the slack before releasing the kite. What is meant by slack? Slack is loose. When the string goes loose, you have when as wind falls, when the string goes slack. Take up the slack before releasing the kite. To pull it or make taut, a stretch or pull it tight, a loose section of the rope has to be made tight, right? As wind falls, when string goes slack, you have to tighten it. You wind it back and run until a new breeze blows. Have the wind at your back. So this means that you are in a good condition, good situation. You are in a position to succeed. Wind back is to twist and turn around and face or go in the opposite direction. Children, the first definition which I gave you is in our normal life, what we are using. Have the wind at your back means you are in a good situation, you are in a position to succeed. But wind back for this kite is to twist or turn around and face or go in the opposite direction. So they gave a new breeze blows. So here breeze, definition of a breeze is a gentle wind that is nearly 6 to 50 kilometers per hour. When the wind blows between 6 to 50 kilometers per hour, then we will say that it is a breeze. And its wings fill and goes and up it goes. So its wings fill. That means that when the wind is good, then it goes up and up. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new, but a ragged thing you never will see when it flaps on a string in the top of the tree. Raggeder is the torn or not in a good condition. The cloth is not in a good condition. So how bright on the blue is a kite when it's new? So when the new kite is new, it looks very bright in the sky. But a ragged thing, but the cloth will be torn. You never will see when it flaps on the string. Flaps moves up and down when flying on the string, when it is on the top of the tree. When suppose if the kite is in between the tree, if it hangs in the tree, then what happens? Yes, the kite will be torn. The cloth of the kite, the paper of the kite will be torn, right? Here the author gave the moral for you to be in the side of an opposition. You just face the position, face the problem and come out in your life, right? So the poem is The Kite. All of us like to fly kites. Have you ever tried to fly one? Yes, read the poem about kite as it flies in the sky. I told you to read 2 to 3 times here. I don't know whether you read or not. Let us see. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new. With a dive and a dip, it snaps its tail, then soars like a ship with only a sail. As over tides of wind it rides, climbs to the crest of a gust and pulls, then seems to rest as wind falls. When string goes slack, you wind it back and run until a new breeze blows, and its wings fill, and up it goes. How bright on the blue is a kite when it's new, but a raggeder thing you never will see when it flaps on a string in the top of a tree. Harry Ben. Who wrote this? Who's the author of this poem? Harry Ben. What is the title of the poem, dear? Yes, The Kite, right? So 3 times you read this poem, just underline what are the words you don't know. Again you search, then again you read once. You will be very clear in the meaning of the poem, right? Right, the summary of the poem is a new kite looks bright when the sky is clear and blue. The kite takes a plunge and bends sideways. Its tail produces a cracking noise. Then suddenly the kite rises high like a ship with a sailcloth. The kite has only one sail of string. It rides over the strong winds and climbs to their top like a ship. It pulls forward when the wind is strong, but as the wind falls, it also rests for a while. When the thread tied to the kite becomes loose, the flyer rolls the thread back. Then again the flyer runs until the kite is filled with wind and goes up. On a clear blue sky, the new kite shines, but it gets torn badly when it flaps on the tree top. Yes, now children, it is time for you to attend the book back exercises. And before going into the book back exercises, I'm going to give you the reading comprehension. Nearly 2 to 3 reading comprehensions we will discuss. We'll have a paragraph paraphrase to be read, and it has to be answered. The MCQ questions given in that has to be answered. If possible, you write it in your classwork. If you don't like to write, then what to do? Yes, you have to write. right? Thank you, dear.